We all learned in school that in 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue. But what if history took a wildly different turn? What if, 1,000 years before Columbus, the Roman Empire, at the zenith of its power, accidentally stumbled upon the Americas? Let's dive into a world that never was, but could have been. Imagine it's the 4th century AD. A massive Roman fleet, laden with legionaries and supplies, is patrolling the rough waters off the coast of Hispania. Suddenly, the sky turns a menacing shade of gray. The sea, once calm, churns into a furious beast. A storm of unprecedented magnitude, a once-in-a-millennium tempest, descends upon them. The mighty Roman triremes, built for the relatively gentle Mediterranean, are tossed about like toys. Masts splinter, sails are torn to shreds, and the disciplined formations of the fleet are shattered. For weeks, the surviving ships are at the mercy of the raging Atlantic, pushed relentlessly westward by a powerful, unknown current. Their navigators are lost. The stars are obscured by clouds. All they can do is pray to Jupiter and hope for salvation. Just as despair sets in, a lookout, his voice raw and cracked from thirst, screams the word they've all been longing to hear. Terra, land. Through the morning mist, they see Ita coastline, unlike any they've ever known. Lush, green jungles rise up to meet pristine white sand beaches. The air is thick with the scent of unknown blossoms and the sound of strange, exotic birds. Exhausted but alive, the Romans guide their battered ships towards the shore. As the legionaries wade through the turquoise water, their hobnailed sandals sinking into the soft sand, they are met with a sight that stuns them into silence. Emerging from the dense foliage are people with skin the color of rich earth, adorned with vibrant feathers and intricate body paint, armed with spears tipped with obsidian. This is First Contact. The Taino people, who have lived on these islands for centuries, stare in bewilderment at these pale, bearded men clad in iron and red cloaks. Neither side knows what to make of the other. Is this a meeting of gods or a prelude to war? For the Roman commander, a seasoned veteran named Gaius Marcellus, there is no hesitation. This new land is a gift from the gods. He orders his men to make camp. The Aquila, the revered eagle standard of his legion, is brought ashore. With solemn ceremony, its golden form gleaming in the tropical sun, the standard is planted firmly in the sand. This act is not just a claim of discovery, it's a declaration of dominion. This land, this Novus Mundus, is now a province of Rome. Construction begins almost immediately. Roman engineers, the best in the world, start felling trees and quarrying stone. They lay out the familiar grid pattern of a Roman camp, which will soon become a fortified city. They build aqueducts to bring fresh water, roads to connect the coast to the interior, and temples to honor their gods. The local tribes watch this display of relentless industry with a mix of fear and fascination. Some resist, leading to brutal, one-sided conflicts. The Roman gladius and pilum are devastatingly effective against wooden clubs and stone-tipped arrows. Others, seeing the power of the newcomers, choose to trade or form alliances, hoping to gain an advantage over their rivals. Slowly, a new hybrid culture begins to form. Roman merchants trade wine and olive oil for maize, tobacco, and cocoa crops entirely new to the Old World. News of the discovery eventually makes its way back to Rome. It's a jolt of lightning that revitalizes a weary, aging empire. The Western Roman Empire, teetering on the brink of collapse from internal strife and barbarian invasions, is suddenly infused with unimaginable wealth. Ships begin to cross the Atlantic regularly, a treacherous but incredibly profitable journey. Gold and silver from the mines of the Andes in Mexico flood the imperial treasury, funding new legions and vast public works. Potatoes and maize revolutionize European agriculture, ending the cycle of famine and leading to a population boom. The empire, which was on the defensive, goes back on the offensive. The Goths, Vandals, and Huns are not just held at bay, they are decisively crushed by legions paid for with New World silver. The Western Roman Empire doesn't fall in for 76 AD. Instead, it is reborn, stronger and richer than ever. The consequences for world history are staggering. With Rome's survival, the so-called Dark Ages never happen. The knowledge of the ancient world is not lost and then rediscovered. It continues to grow and evolve. The great schism between the Western and Eastern churches might be and the rise of Islam could face a unified, powerful Christian Roman Empire. Europe, as we know, is a continent of distinct nation-states like France, Germany, and England never forms. Instead, it remains a collection of provinces under the single, unifying authority of Rome. The Renaissance, the Reformation, the Age of Exploration, as we know, it's all of these pivotal moments are erased from the timeline, replaced by the steady, continuous march of Roman civilization. So, what would our world look like today? Picture in America where Latin is a common language, spoken alongside dozens of indigenous dialects. Instead of New York, you might have Nova Roma. Instead of Los Angeles, perhaps Port Los Angeles. Highways might follow the paths of ancient Roman roads, straight as an arrow, connecting sprawling cities filled with a mixture of classical Roman architecture and modern skyscrapers. The government would likely be a form of republic or empire, with senators debating in forums powered by electricity. The eagle, not the stars and stripes, would be the symbol of the continent. Indigenous cultures would still exist, but they would be deeply intertwined with Roman traditions, much like the Gauls and Britons were in ancient times. The great conflicts of the 20th century, the World Wars, and the Cold War would be inconceivable in a world dominated by a single global superpower that has existed for over 2.5 millennia. It would be a world of incredible technological advancement, built upon an unbroken line of scientific inquiry stretching back to Archimedes and Pliny the Elder. But it might also be a world with less cultural diversity, one where the Roman model was imposed everywhere. It's a fascinating and complex thought experiment. A single storm, 1,000 years before Columbus, could have rewritten the entire destiny of humanity. Would this Roman America be a utopia, a perfect fusion of old and new? Or would it be a dystopia, a world under the eternal heel of an unyielding empire? What do you think? Would you prefer to live in the world we have, or take a chance on this Roman alternative? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoy exploring these alternate histories, make sure to like and subscribe for more.